I am 35, have been with her, 36, for 4.5 years, and this breakup has left me utterly heartbroken and shocked. Just a few weeks ago, we were talking about marriage and planning to have children soon. I loved her deeply and was thrilled at the thought of spending my life with her. Our story began in college, where we were good friends, though we were each in different relationships. After graduation, we both found ourselves single and reconnected. We began dating, and I quickly fell in love with her. During this time, she took a 2-month holiday back to her home country, and I made the spontaneous decision to visit her there. She was impressed by my gesture, and soon she fell in love as well. After returning, we both found jobs in my country, and since I had a large, affordable apartment, she moved in with me. We both started working and, from my perspective, had a wonderful relationship. However, a small fight once opened a crack in what I thought was a perfect relationship. One night, after a long workday, she was studying a German book to learn the language of my country for her job, while I was reading a novel. She kept asking me to translate words into English, which interrupted my reading. After answering a few, I, perhaps a bit annoyed, asked if she could save her questions for later. I immediately noticed she was hurt and quickly apologized, offering to help her, but she no longer wanted to ask. A few days later, she unexpectedly broke up with me. She explained that she was exhausted and found it overwhelming to balance learning a foreign language and working at the same time. She felt unsupported and also resented the long commute she had to endure compared to my short one, as her job was in another city. I hadn't realized her stress levels, as she had never mentioned them before. Heartbroken, I asked for another chance and offered to be more supportive, even to move closer to her job, but she refused. She decided she needed space and moved to another city. I stopped contacting her, but after a few weeks, she reached out to me. She said she felt less exhausted and appreciated that I understood her perspective. She admitted she'd made a mistake and should have communicated her feelings better. We decided to take things slow and start fresh. I visited her on weekends, and we gradually rekindled our relationship, moving from friends back to partners. Eventually, we decided to move in together again, this time in a new city between our workplaces. Life together seemed happy, and she started hinting more and more about marriage and children. I was still cautious after the first breakup, so I decided to wait a little longer. I told her I was waiting for the right moment to propose and felt it was a bit early for kids. Last Christmas 2022, she wrote me a card thanking me for all the support I'd given her, saying I was the best boyfriend she'd ever had. She wrote that she loved me more than anything and looked forward to many more years together. This solidified my resolve, and I began planning a proposal for our trip to Thailand in late 2023. We had also stopped using birth control, letting things happen naturally if we were to start a family. But then, at the end of November, she asked to sit down and talk. She told me she wasn't sure about the relationship anymore, that she felt unsafe with me and needed space. I was completely blindsided. Just a month earlier, she had told my mother we were considering having children. I asked her why she felt this way, and she explained that I never took care of her when she truly needed it. She cited an example from a few months earlier when she had a mild cough and asked me to get a COVID test. I told her it wasn't necessary, as COVID regulations had been lifted in our country, and suggested she take the day off if she felt unwell. She later went to the pharmacy to buy a test and some medicine herself, feeling upset that I hadn't gone for her. I tried to explain that a test didn't seem rational since it wouldn't affect her treatment. I assured her I'd help her if it was truly necessary, but she saw it as a sign of indifference and became convinced I would leave all childcare responsibilities to her as well. I begged her to join me on our planned holiday, hoping that quality time together would rekindle her feelings. The trip started well, we enjoyed ourselves, and I tried to be attentive to her every need. But soon she became distant, didn't want physical closeness, and grew irritated with almost everything I did. Desperate, I showed her the ring and told her I'd planned to propose, pledging to do anything to save our relationship and be with her forever. We spent hours discussing what had gone wrong. She shared that she was frustrated by my lack of help with cooking and groceries. I acknowledged I didn't cook much but reminded her that I handled other household tasks. I told her that cooking felt like a small, fixable issue, and that I hadn't realized it was such a deal breaker. Yet, the more I tried to understand, the more things she brought up that I hadn't done right. I started feeling like I couldn't do anything correctly.
Moral of the story.
Sometimes, love isn't enough to bridge gaps in communication and unmet expectations. Relationships thrive when both partners feel supported and understood, but this requires clear and open dialogue. If one partner's needs remain unspoken or unmet, they can turn into resentment that slowly erodes the relationship. This experience taught me that love is not only about grand gestures and commitments, it's also about the small, everyday acts of support that help build a foundation of trust and understanding.